Welcome to the deep dive, everyone. Ready to explore some seriously thought-provoking stuff?
Always.
Great. Today we're cracking open Aldous Huxley's Brave New World.
Oh, that's a good one. A classic.
It is. And I think it's going to make us all think a little differently about the world we're building right now, all that good stuff.
Right, yeah. It's interesting what Huxley does with this whole utopia idea, Like he creates this world state where everything seems perfect, everybody's happy, no war, no poverty, no disease. Sounds amazing.
It does sound pretty ideal on the surface.
But there's a twist. The way they achieve this utopia is, well, pretty messed up.
Definitely. He kind of takes those things we all worry about a little, like technology and social engineering and just like the whole idea of happiness. And he turns it all up to 11.
Exactly.
And it's like from the very first page, you're just thrown into this crazy world. They have these hatcheries where babies are literally made in bottles.
Like decanted.
Yeah, decanted. No more childbirth. Just a factory process. It's kind of freaky when you really think about it.
It is. And that's where it all begins, right? That hatchery is the start of the world state's control over its citizens.
I see what you mean.
Right from the start, they're sorting those embryos into different classes, like, alphas, betas, gammas, deltas, epsilons, all genetically designed for specific roles.
It's like your whole destiny is decided before you're even, born. Kind of a scary thought.
Absolutely. And then to make sure everyone fits perfectly into their little slots and stays happy, they use some pretty intense conditioning techniques.
Yeah, like hypnopedia, right? Sleep teaching.
Exactly. Imagine being taught in your sleep to love consumerism or to think those in lower classes are somehow less than you.
Wow. It's almost like a super subtle brainwashing.
Right. It shapes their entire worldview, their values, everything.
It's kind of creepy when you think about it.
And then there's Soma.
Ah, yes. Soma. Can't forget about Soma.
Not just a happy pill, more like a chemical escape hatch.
An escape hatch. I like that.
Anytime you feel a little down, a little stressed, a little anything, you just pop a Soma and poof, it's gone.
So it's like they're constantly numbing themselves to any kind of negative emotion.
Pretty much. It's this artificial bliss, this manufactured happiness.
And here's where things get really interesting. There's this character, John, the savage.
The outsider.
Exactly. He comes from this savage reservation where they still have things like family and religion and, real emotions. He's like the total opposite of everything the world state stands for.
He throws a wrench in their whole system.
And there's this one scene, I think it's one of the most powerful in the book, where his mother, Linda, is dying in the hospital.
Right, very sterile, very controlled.
And everyone's just so calm about it, so accepting. Like death is just this sanitized process. But John, he just loses it. He's overwhelmed with grief. And it's just like this raw human reaction that nobody else in the world state understands.
He exposes their emotional emptiness.
Yeah.
He sees their detachment from death, from suffering, as dehumanizing.
It's really powerful. Makes you wonder if maybe there's a price to pay for this manufactured happiness.
Yeah.
Like is a life without any kind of suffering, without any real depth of feeling.
Yeah.
Is that even a life worth living?
Exactly. Huxley really makes you question those things, and that's just the beginning. John challenges their ideas in every way. He refuses to take Soma. He actually wants real relationships with real love, real heartbreak.
He's a walking rebellion.
Exactly. He makes them, and us, question everything they think they know.
And speaking of questioning things, we got to talk about Mustafa Mond, the world controller.
Yeah.
He's like the ultimate spokesperson for the world state.
He's got some pretty strong arguments, too. He makes a good case for their system.
He does. He talks about how stability and happiness require sacrifice.
Yeah.
Like, you got to give up individual freedom, personal expression, even maybe truth itself to create this perfect, harmonious society.
It makes you think that maybe he has a point. Is there a trade-off?
Right. In our world, freedom often leads to, chaos, conflict, inequality. Maybe a little bit of control isn't so bad.
Huxley doesn't give us easy answers, that's for sure. He makes us confront that possibility that maybe, just maybe, there's a trade-off between individual liberty and societal well-being.
Yeah. As we keep going deeper into Brave New World, I think that's something we got to keep in mind. How much are we willing to give up in the name of happiness and stability? And what are the potential consequences of choosing comfort over freedom?
It's a question we all have to grapple with, I think, especially in today's world. It's kind of wild how Huxley uses satire, to show us what could go wrong when a society gets obsessed with pleasure and comfort.
Oh, yeah. It's like he was like predicting our world,
Right.
with all the instant gratification and constant distractions, like those feelies they have.
The feelies.
Yeah, those immersive movies where you could like feel everything, the sights, the sounds, even smells, like you're actually there in the movie. It's like, what's it called? VR.
Oh, yeah, virtual reality.
Exactly. Supercharged VR. It's like all they care about is keeping everyone entertained and distracted all the time.
And the relationships.
Oh, yeah, the relationships. It's like they've engineered out all the messy stuff, love, jealousy, commitment, all gone. Like, remember that part with Lenina and Fanny?
Yeah, I think so. Refresh my memory.
Fanny's, like, freaking out because Lenina's been seeing only Henry Foster for, like, 4 months.
Oh, right. Because that's, like, way too long for them. It's wild how different their norms are.
It's like they're scared of any kind of serious connection. Like it's a threat to their precious stability or something.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Makes you wonder what they're missing out on,
It does. And that's what John, the savage, keeps struggling with.
Yeah, he wants something more, something deeper.
He craves those real, raw emotions, the kind of love that can break your heart, the kind of connection that really means something.
And it's so obvious in his thing with Lenina. Yeah, their relationship or whatever you want to call it, he's so drawn to her, but she's just so, I don't know, casual about it all. It's like she can't even understand what he's looking for.
It's that clash of values, right? He's trying to explain these deeper feelings. He even quotes Shakespeare to her, hoping it'll, like, spark something.
And how does she react?
I'm guessing not well.
She's like, a gram is better than a damn, and pops another soma. Like, heartbreaking, He's trying to reach her, but she's just so lost in this world of instant gratification and surface-level pleasure.
It really highlights the tragedy of his character, I think. He's searching for something real in a world that's become so artificial.
It makes you think about, like, what even is happiness?
Yeah.
Can you really have meaning without suffering?
Yeah, those are the big questions Huxley's throwing at us.
And it's not just John who's struggling.
Yeah.
There's also, what was his name? Bernard Marx.
Oh, yeah, the Alpha Plus, who doesn't quite fit in.
Right. He's got it all, top of the social hierarchy, but he's still unhappy. He's like this melancholic outsider.
It's almost like he's, like a foreshadowing of John. He's starting to see the cracks in this perfect facade.
Yeah, and that's what makes him bring John back from the savage reservation.
Yeah.
He thinks John will, like, expose everything, shake things up.
But it doesn't really work out that way, does it?
Nope. Bernard kind of gets caught up in the whole celebrity thing, like having the savage as his like pet project makes him popular, and he ends up caring more about fitting in than actually challenging the system.
It's a classic case of conformity, I guess.
It is. And it's scary how easily it can happen. Even when you know something's wrong, you just get swept up in it all.
Yeah.
Kind of makes you think about our own world,
Totally. Like, how often do we just go along with things, even when we know deep down it's not right, just because it's easier?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what's so brilliant about Huxley's writing. He's not just talking about this far-off dystopia. He's making us look at ourselves, at our own choices. Like, hey, this could be you. Are you paying attention?
He's definitely making a point. It's kind of messed up how in Brave New World, the control is so, so subtle.
What do you mean?
It's not like some evil dictator forcing people to be happy. They actually believe they are. They've been conditioned to accept this lack of freedom as, like, normal.
So it's not even brainwashing. It's
more like careful engineering. They've been designed and conditioned to see the world in this very specific way.
And Soma helps with that, right?
Big time. It keeps everyone docile, content. Like, even when bad things happen, they just pop a Soma and forget about it.
Wow. It's like the ultimate distraction.
From the real stuff, yeah. The stuff that actually matters.
So we're back to that central conflict, right? John wanting freedom, individuality, and the world state just wanting everyone to be happy and stable, even if it means giving up everything else.
In John's fight, it's not looking good.
Not at all. Do you remember that part where he tries to, like, free the Deltas from their Soma addiction, throws all the pills out the window, tells them to wake up and be free?
Oh, yeah, that was rough.
They just, like, freak out. They're so dependent on the drug, they can't even function without it.
It's like they're terrified of their own emotions, of actually feeling anything real.
And that's what the world state has done to them, right?
Right.
They made them so comfortable, so numb, that they can't even handle real life anymore.
It's a bleak picture, that's for sure.
So what does John do? How does he deal with all this?
Well, he does something pretty drastic. He decides to leave it all behind. He retreats to this abandoned lighthouse looking for solitude.
He's like giving up on the whole world.
I think he's just trying to find some peace, some freedom. But of course, it doesn't last.
What happened?
The world finds him. The media, the crowds. They all descend on his little hideaway, turning his life into a spectacle. Even in isolation, he can't escape the world state's influence.
It's like they're everywhere, man. There's no escaping. So what, is this the end for John?
It is. He becomes a prisoner of his own rebellion. Torn between his longing for freedom and the pull of the world state, it all ends very, very tragically.
So are we all doomed then? Is this like a warning that we're headed for the same fate?
I don't think so. I think Huxley's message is more hopeful than that.
Hopeful?
Yeah. He's not saying we're going to end up like them, but he's definitely warning us to be careful, to think critically, to fight for our freedom and individuality.
I see what you mean. Like, it's a wake-up call.
Exactly.
We have to be aware of the choices we're making, the things we're accepting, the things we're giving up.
And be willing to push back, to stand up for what we believe in.
Okay, yeah, I'm starting to get it. So as we wrap up this part of the deep dive, what's like the main thing you want our listener to take away?
Well, I guess it's this. Even in a world that seems perfect, there might be hidden costs. Comfort and stability can come at a price. And sometimes that price is our freedom and our individuality.
That's deep. And it makes you think, what are we giving up in our own pursuit of, like, progress and convenience?
It's a question worth asking ourselves, I think, every single day.
It's amazing how relevant Brave New World still feels today.
I know, right?
Like, Huxley was writing this almost 100 years ago.
100 years ago.
But all that stuff about technology and consumerism and, losing our individuality.
Yeah.
It's like more true now than ever.
It's kind of scary, actually.
It is. Think about it. Like, we're constantly bombarded with ads, told to buy the newest gadgets, got to have the latest thing.
Instant gratification.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then social media. It's like everyone's got to present this perfect, happy image of themselves, even if it's totally fake.
The curated life.
Yeah. And we're so busy, like, connecting online that we're forgetting how to, connect in real life.
It's like we're falling into those traps that Huxley warned us about without even realizing it.
So what can we do? Like, how do we avoid becoming those mindless drones from the world state?
Well, first we have to be aware of it, right? Like, we got to understand the dangers.
So being mindful, basically.
Exactly. We have to think about the choices we make. Like, every time you buy something, every time you click on something online, ask yourself, what am I giving up for this? Is it worth it?
That's a good point.
And don't be afraid to, push back, question things. Don't just go along with the crowd.
Stand up for what you believe in.
Exactly.
Okay, so wrapping things up, what's like the big takeaway? What do you want our listeners to remember from all this?
I think Huxley's main point is that we have a choice.
A choice.
Yeah, like, we're not doomed to become like those people in Brave New World, but we got to fight for what matters.
Fight for freedom, for individuality, for
real happiness, the kind that comes from struggle, from experiencing the full range of human emotions.
Not just from popping a soma.
Right. We have to embrace the complexity of being human.
That's a powerful message.
Yeah.
So there you have it, folks, our deep dive into Brave New World.
Hope you enjoyed the ride.
We did. And hopefully it's given you some things to, ponder. The future's not set in stone. We get to decide what kind of world we want to live in. So thanks for joining us. And until next time, keep thinking, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.